had to do a little follow-up on whatever happened to Genepack, which is a company in Japan who was claimed to have a car that could take water and split it into hydrogen and oxygen and then use a fuel cell to recombine it and generate electricity. This article is actually from February 24th, 2009. What happened with the car? I know it was demonstrated in front of the press. They had television clips of it. It was on the news. They had YouTube videos showing the core technology at work, how water was being fed into the system and then recycled back to its source. I shouldn't laugh, but looks like this company is done with. Nobody really knows for sure. At least I don't know for sure what happened to it, but it's done. Now, I look on the internet, YouTube, for instance. Japanese create water-powered car 2011. Actually, this is a repost of a clip from 2008. I'm going to comment a couple things on this technology, yay and nay, but something else from another angle too. This article is from, they call this Rational Wiki, water-powered car. I'll post a link. They're talking about the theory of HHO. They're saying it's not well understood, all this type of stuff. And then they're talking about Genepack, which is the Genepack car, which was revealed in Japan in 2008. They're very tight-lipped about the specific processes because, quite obviously there have been patents on it, and they want to keep the technology and royalties or whatever to themselves. Genepack ceased trading production in 2009. According to this article here, says probably because they were called out. They would be called out on their scam. And it's saying, however, the website's still available, but the website actually is not available. I looked up the website; it's gone. Yeah, this article also goes into Stanley Myers, saying that basically Stanley Myers was convicted of a fraud in 1996 over claims made in his patents, and he died of an aneurysm in 1998. I know Stanley Myers, some say he was poisoned, and he said some report that he exclaimed he was poisoned when he walked out of a restaurant. I also know that his car that he had was stolen briefly after his death, and all the papers and all his documents and everything. There's one thing I want to point out about this, why I don't think it's a scam, is because, for instance, with Stanley Myers, he actually started working on this in the 70s after they had the oil embargo from OPEC nations in 1973, and he realized the United States was so heavily dependent on oil, he didn't want that to happen in the future. He wanted to develop an alternative fuel. So he spends 20 years working on this, his own money, his own efforts. If it's a fraud, it would be easily fraud to uncover, because somebody bought the product, didn't work. Quite obviously, what's going to happen? I mean, you would find out in a matter of a few days it does it work or does it not work. Same thing with Genepack. They put years of research into it, a lot of their own capital, a lot of their own effort. I'm sure mega hours of time. And if the process didn't work, the first time they sold to a customer, it would be revealed. They were putting up their own capital, their own time, their own efforts. This scam is when you're getting money from people to invest in something right off the bat. I have an idea, you didn't put much into it, or you're being funded by the government to research something. You didn't put that much into it. I got this so far, I need more money. I got this so far, I need more money. But in this case, like Stanley Myers must have spent 2 decades on this. So if he's a scammer, he's the worst scammer in the world. So that doesn't make sense from that angle. They put too much of their own effort into it, and it would have been found out immediately if these things didn't work. So again, I want to get into something about the something more conspiratorial. I know people talk about this earthquake and tsunami they had in Japan, but sometimes I wonder, how many, if this was on purpose or what, because, I look at this Sakajima volcano in Japan, which occurred several days after, I'll get right back to that, several days after the tsunami. And you look at this is right off the webcam itself, and they're showing this light that actually grows to about this big. It goes for about 5-6 minutes, then it shrinks rapidly at the end while the volcano is going off. Now, I don't know, this person's saying UFO, but to tell you the truth, I'm not somebody who buys into the UFO thing, but let me put it this way. I could see this. Nobody faked it. It's on a webcam that was on the volcano, and it's not a reflection in the lens. So what the hell is it? It goes on. I remember this was an aftershock that occurred in Sendai, and it was a very strong aftershock. So I'm a little suspicious about, whatever happened to Japan, if it was natural or not. I know I'm talking about a UFO. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm beginning to wonder is, Japan is a very strong and independent nation, and they're doing a lot of things that people don't like that are for world government, so who the hell knows. But number two, you're looking at oil demand. 98% of the transportation in the United States depends upon crude oil directly. Okay? And of all the crude oil that comes into the United States, more than half of it, about 55% of it, goes into transportation. So it's like taking all the economic activity of a whole major country and just cutting them off. It'd be easier to go to like New York City and Los Angeles and tell everybody in those two cities you're not going to have any money at all, period, because I developed this thing. So, you could see there's a major factor as far as revenue streams as who you're interfering with. I know that sounds a little conspiratorial, too, but, I see it as reality. I'm sorry. But as far as this is not 2011. This was 2008, and Genepack is done now. But I wish I had this other article, but it was about a year. It was about 2009. They had the major Japanese car manufacturers working, or one of them, or two of them, working with these people, Genepack, and they were going to develop a production car that was a luxury car that used this technology. That tells me it was real. I don't have that article because the link is dead and I didn't export it into a PDF and save it. But, people can write anything. It doesn't mean any proof of anything because, these reporters just write what the hell they're told. But using a little common sense, why would all these people put all this money into this if it didn't work? They had the Japanese car companies looking at this technology. I don't think it was a scam. They didn't have a bunch of people just giving them money all along. And yeah, you could work on it. Okay, it didn't come out just yet. You give some more money for next year. That's a scam. But when you're throwing your own capital into something and you're working on it yourself, especially like Stanley Myers, I don't think it's a scam. So this isn't going to see the light of day for a long time. I know they got this next guy coming out. He's not really related to transportation so much, but it's Andrea Rossi. He has this process whereby they call it low energy nuclear reactions. It's going to heat water into, in other words, you can make steam powered electricity, and these are going to be 1 megawatt ECAT, or energy catalyst plants sold, which is they're going to go to individual homes. So actually, that's not a direct threat to crude oil as much as, modifying the transportation sector, because actually a small portion of crude oil compared to transportation goes to electrifying homes. But it may be a good idea if he goes open source, because I don't know, because this can really be adapted very quickly to transportation, because they can go back to the Stirling steam engine design. If this heats water, makes steam, they could be transparent. They could be using it for all kinds of transportation in that respect. It just would take a couple years to convert things over because it would take a lot of capital to rebuild, to use this type of technology. But as far as this water-powered car, I tell you the truth, I think it existed, but it's not going to see the light of day because the crude oil is just much too powerful. The crude oil interests are much too powerful. And I could tell you, like, even natural gas, which is piped everywhere in the United States, and we already have the technology to do that. Chevrolet produced cars for many years, a long time ago, using natural gas and gasoline, dual fuel. The infrastructure is there despite what they say, because natural gas is piped all over the United States. It wouldn't be that hard to make natural gas stations. Well, even that isn't coming out. Even that's related to the oil interest. The only guy that's behind that is Pat Boone. So, Boone Pickens. Excuse me, Pat. Boone Pickens. But, I don't think the money rules, and that's really what goes on. So, I don't think this stuff's going to see the light of day right away.